Okay, you don't love your job. In fact, you don't like it and you want to change. But there's a problem. It's called writing your resume and the motivation to do it because you don't have any. Because anytime you've opened it to try, you're so confused about what to write. When you Google it, you get all this conflicting information about what needs to happen, what it like keywords and templates and what's this applicant tracking system. It's just so overwhelming and confusing. So you're doing what all of us humans like to do when it's overwhelming and confusing, and that is putting it off. I'll just do it another time until you get that itch again. And it's time to write the resume, and the overwhelming, confusing mess is still there. So I'm going to teach you I'm going to walk you through it, a very simple exercise that like throws away all that. Let's not worry about that right now. Let's just get started. Let's just get started writing your resume. There's a couple exercises that I want to walk you through, which means I want you to grab a piece of paper and a pen or pencil or your laptop. Put this on a different screen if you have two screens, or bring up your phone, whatever it is, however you want to do it. It doesn't really matter. The easiest, literally, I just want it to be the easiest thing for you right now. And be ready to pause this as you need. This is an exercise I want you to have done by the end of this because it'll feel amazing to have gotten such a head start. Okay, now this is the mindset I want you to be in, is we are creating a first draft. Now, the first draft of anything is kind of garbage, but it is so necessary because it's kind of like brainstorming. It's where everything good comes from, but I don't want you to worry about it sounding good or perfect or anything like that. We can worry about that later. We're just getting started. Okay, so we're just going to write a list. Step one, write a list. Super easy. Now we're going to write a list about all of the different ways that you made a difference, all of the accomplishments you've had, all the things that you're really, really so damn proud of. And we're talking about this current job, your last job, all of the things. We don't have to worry about it, just all of the things that come to mind. Now, if we're going to be using our time most efficiently, we do want to focus on the last 2 to 3 positions. And you only need about 2 to 3 wins for each. So don't feel like you have to have a list of 50. And these can be any sort of accomplishments, quantitative, qualitative, you doing your job on steroids. They don't have to be like super duper fancy. This is where we get caught up all the time, is thinking it has to be the most incredible, quantitatively measurable success ever. So for instance, say you reduced costs in some way. How did you reduce those costs? And if you have the number, great, but qualifying it as a reduced cost is also great. So think about things like that. Did you bring in money? Did you improve a process, improve the culture, improve employee morale, improve the team? Did you create a high-performing team? Did you champion anything? Did you help the company go through by either being a participant or a leader of a major change or transformation? How have you made the lives of other people who depend on you go easier or more successful? Clients, customer, team members, boss, or maybe that is simply your job. These are some of the wins that that I want you to focus on. I don't want you to get so caught up in, well, I don't have any accomplishments, because we all have accomplishments. And one of the things I mentioned was the time you did your job on steroids. Those are those times, and we all go through them in jobs, where it's like everything is hitting the fan at once. You have so many conflicting deadlines, and you have to navigate and manage that. So every thing is an accomplishment, every aspect of your job. So I really want you to open your mind and reward yourself for it. Celebrate yourself for it. Stop discrediting yourself because it's not big enough. Okay, step 2 in this exercise to getting started writing your resume is brag, brag, brag. I know sometimes it feels icky, but we're celebrating yourself. It's the reason why I chose that word. I want us to continue celebrating yourself. And this is where we take that overarching difference that you made and we start adding to that story. And you know, I love a good story. And storytelling in the resume is a 2022 resume trend. If you want to learn about the rest, come join us in the Career Love Academy. I've got a really juicy training on it. But we like to focus on incorporating shorter stories in our resume. Now, to start that is we need the expanded version. And the amazing thing about this exercise is we're killing 2 birds with just 1 stone, because all of this work will also be good for your interviews. So it's like doubly rewarding. So you're going to pick one for this exercise, pick one of the accomplishments that you just wrote down on that list, and we're going to expand it. And now I like the acronym for storytelling of BAR. Now you may have heard of other ones for interview things like CAR or STAR or START or so many, obviously different ones. I like BAR, super simple, easy, and it's background, action, result. So think of that story. So let's say, for instance, the story is that you improved a process. So the background is, what was the process? What was the purpose of the process? How did you recognize that it needed to be improved? Who were you in that situation? What was your role? Who did you work with? What other teams or people did you have to collaborate? Did you have to convince anyone that this process needed to be improved? Was there any technology or environmental things that we should know about? Then we get into the actions. This is the actions that you took to improve the process. How did you streamline it? How did you optimize it? Using some words that you can use in your resume, but how did you get it from being clunky to more efficient? All of the steps that you took. And then we have the result. What was the result of it? Did it lead to more time, a reduction of cost, decreased in like service orders? Did it lead to just an easier workflow and task flow, make everyone's life easier? What was the result of that process being improved? Now, I suggest you do this in a separate document. So we're not doing this in a resume because I didn't tell you to grab a resume. And I want you to make sure that you save this as accomplishment stories. Actually, in the Career Love Academy, we have an accomplishment builder that walks you through this exercise that can be saved separately so that we know we can easily access it when it comes time to prepare for those interviews. But I want you to do that for all of the key accomplishments on your list that you're so proud of and you're so excited to talk about. So step 2 was brag, brag, brag. Write out the story of your accomplishments. Step 3 is paring it down. We need to pare it down. And the reason why we need to pare it down is because we can't have a paragraph long bullet point. A reader just can't absorb that much information. It's too overwhelming to their eye, especially as they're skimming. We have to think about them as skimmers, not full readers. And so you're really going to think of the highlights of this and what the type of job you would want to hear. So usually they'll definitely want to hear the results. So the result has to get in there because this is a resume. This is the highlight reel. We want to focus on that. In some instances, the background piece is more important than the action piece. And then in other instances, it's vice versa. So pare it down into a 1 to 2 sentence bullet point. And it is 1 or 2 sentences. It's not a half sentence. We are talking about storytelling here. And you are going to start each of these stories with an action verb. Now, the easiest way sometimes is to start with the result and start with what the result did. So if it reduced or increased or drove or generated, sometimes it's easy to start with that result. In other instances, we might want to start with the you in it. So spearheaded or managed or directed or coordinated, led, orchestrated, championed, advocated, transformed, like we're the you piece, the who were you in the situation. So for action verbs, I do have in the resume training in the Career Love Academy 195 action verbs that you can use in your resume. So I know lots of like, what's it called? Like product placement, I guess, in this one, but it's just, there's so much good information in there. So the link to join is below. The fourth step is after you've pared it down is I do want you to look back at all of those accomplishments. And I want you to think, what does this say about who I am? What is it about me that led to these accomplishments? I'm thinking experience, I'm thinking hard skills, I'm thinking soft skills, I'm thinking what it is, like why you were the one to have these accomplishments. Maybe it's because you're such a strong relationship builder. Maybe it's because you can't help but make things more efficient, or you are a master problem solver. Could be a mix of things, and probably it's 2 or 3 things. And you know, I love the power of 3. Resonates with readers. So if you can bring it down to 3 core things about you that led to these accomplishments, I want you to write those things down. Best thing about these exercises that I just walked you through, now you're ready. You've done like the hardest part of writing a resume. You have created a professional profile statement. Maybe it could be expanded and fine-tuned a bit, because remember, this is just the first draft, but that who you are, what these accomplishments say about you is that professional profile. And you just wrote like all the bullet points, all the content for your professional experience. Now you don't need to figure out what you need to say about yourself, because we just finished that and wrote it. And the best thing is you're also not going to have to worry about a template, because I'm giving you 2 of my most effective, most popular templates for free with my guide to a resume that wows. So we can finish this resume and it stop being the thing that keeps you stuck. Now, let me tell you about these templates. These are not your infographic style templates that you see when you go on Pinterest or Google and that look really pretty, but applicant tracking systems don't like. These ones are made to get through those applicant tracking systems. But bonus, they are also suitable for the reader, the human person who does want something that's aesthetically pleasing. So I've covered it all off, and these are the templates that have gotten many of my clients from like no interviews over months, a year, to like a dozen interviews in 2 weeks, to going from a year-long job search to like getting a new job in 6 weeks as soon as they made these changes, to only having to apply to 5 jobs in 1 month because you're busy with your work and getting interviews for 3 of them and then getting an offer for 1 of them. These are the success stories that have been happening with these tips and these templates, and I want it for you, because I refuse to let 80% of people stay in a job that they don't like. I want 80% of people to love their careers, and I'm doing all it takes to help as many people as I can get there. So the link to grab these templates are below. Let me know how they work for you. Let me know if you've used them. Let me know if you have any questions about them, but also let me know once those interviews start coming start ringing. I cannot wait to hear. Okay, till next week, have a great week. Take care.